Hi, good afternoon. Today is Saturday, May 16th, and I'm at home and I'm gonna pick up my two daughters from school today after this video because I have a reservation for their dentist. And today I woke up 5 o'clock and I managed to study English for a while. But after I said goodbye to my family, I felt nauseous and maybe I caught a cold. And but I took some medicine for it, so I feel much better. But I'm not good for some reason. Anyway, uh, today day 6. I could study English in the morning, so which I'm relieved. Yeah. See you.
Afternoon, Ari. It's great to see you again for today's first lesson. I hope you're feeling refreshed and ready. Shall we jump right in? Thank you for sharing how you're feeling. Here's a natural way to say it. I feel nauseous, so I took some medicine for it. Did the medicine help at all, or are you still feeling uncomfortable? That sounds good. Here's a natural way to say it. I just took some medicine, so I hope it will work soon. When you feel nauseous, do you usually take medicine right away, or do you try to rest first? Thank you for your answer. Here's a more natural way to say it. I tried to rest first, but it didn't help much, so I didn't feel any better. In the end, I took some medicine. Do you often feel this way, or is it unusual for you to feel nauseous? That's a clear answer. Here's a natural way to say it. I'm not the kind of person who usually gets nauseous. Is there anything you think might have caused it today, like something you ate, stress, or maybe tiredness? By the way, you haven't scheduled your next lesson. If you change your mind, you can set your reminder in the Profile tab. That makes sense? Here's a more natural way to say it. Maybe I caught a cold because it's very cold in my office. We have the AC running all the time. Do you often feel cold at work? Or do you usually bring something to keep warm, like a sweater or a scarf? Thank you for explaining. Here's a more natural way to say it. Maybe at my desk, I feel more of the cold air from the AC than other people do. Do you sit right under the AC vent, or is your desk just in a spot where the air blows directly on you? That's clear. Here's a natural way to say it. Yeah, I sit at a desk that's right in the spot where the AC air blows directly on me. Does it bother you every day, or only when the AC is set very low? Have you tried asking to adjust the temperature or move your seat? That's a good plan. Here's a more natural way to say it. Maybe I can't move my seat, so I'm going to try to adjust the temperature. Do you think your coworkers will agree if you ask to make it a little warmer, or do they prefer it cold? That's understandable. Here's a natural way to say it. I'm not sure if they'll agree. Sometimes people have very different preferences for temperature at work. Have you ever talked with your coworkers about how cold it feels, or do most people seem comfortable? That's a clear answer. Here's a natural way to say it. Maybe most people seem comfortable, except for me. It can be tough when you're the only one who feels cold. Do you ever use anything extra, like a blanket or a hot drink, to help you stay? That's great. Here's a natural way to say it. Anyway, today I'm going to practice speaking English with you, especially what I learned last week. Would you like to review phrases for describing symptoms and pain, practice daily verb phrases, or talk about polite and euphemistic language for sensitive topics? That's a lovely phrase. Here's a natural way to say it. One of my favorite phrases that I learned from my favorite YouTuber is, "My prayers were answered." Can you share a time when you felt like your prayers were answered? What happened? That's a nice example. Here's a more natural way to say it. When I received the box that I ordered online, I felt like my prayers were answered. What was inside the box? Was it something you had really been looking forward to? Great sentence. Here's a slightly more natural way to say it. It was a snack that I'd been dying to eat. What kind of snack was it? Was it something from Japan or from another country? That's a good question. We usually use "my prayers were answered" when something we really hoped for or wanted finally happens, especially if we waited a long time or thought it was difficult to get. For example, you might say it when you finally get good news, find a lost item, or something you wished for comes true. Would you like to try making another sentence using "my prayers were answered"? If you want, a great choice. Here's a natural way to say it. The news blew my mind. This phrase means that the news was so surprising or amazing that you couldn't believe it. Can you think of a time when you heard some news that really blew your mind? What was it about? Thank you for your example. Here's a more natural way to say it. For example, a few days ago, I saw a news story that said a potato chip company will release a product with no color on the package. That's definitely surprising. Why do you think they decided to use a package with no color? Thank you for your answer. Here's a more natural way to say it, because they can't get enough ingredients for the product. Do you mean they can't get the materials for the packaging, like colored ink, or the ingredients for the chips themselves? Thank you for explaining. Here's a natural way to say it, I see. They can't get the materials for the packaging because of the war. You know, there are some wars happening in the world. It's interesting how world events can even affect things like snack packaging. Did the news say if the company will go back to using colored packages after things improve? Thank you. Here's a more natural way to say it. Maybe they will. It's possible that when things get better, they'll return to their usual packaging. Are you interested in trying the no-color package chips, or do you prefer the regular ones? That's a great answer. Here's a more natural way to say it. I'm really interested in the no-color package, so if I find them at the store, I'll definitely get it. Do you often look for new or limited edition snacks when you go shopping? That's a fun way to That's a great phrase. I'm a sucker for limited snacks is very natural and casual. It means you can't resist buying them when you see them. Do you remember the last limited snack you bought? What was it? Nice use of the phrase. I did stumble upon this means you found something by chance or unexpectedly. Can you tell me about something interesting you stumbled upon recently? Maybe during shopping, traveling, or even online? Great question. That's a shame is used when you hear about something disappointing, unfortunate, or a little sad. For example, if a friend tells you they missed out on buying a limited snack, you can say, "That's a shame." Would you like to try making your own sentence with "that's a shame"? If you want, I can give you an example first. Perfect example. If someone told you that, you could reply, "That's a shame." Would you like to practice with another phrase, or is there a different topic you want to talk about next? Great choice. Go with the flow means to relax and accept things as they happen without trying to control everything. Can you think of a situation where you just had to go with the flow? Maybe during a trip, at work, or with your family? That's a very natural explanation. Here's a slightly smoother way to say it. Maybe I'm not a type A person, so I like to go with the flow. But it's very difficult to stay on track or stay on top of things when I have two kids. Do you have any strategies or routines that help you manage your busy life with your children, or do you just try to handle things as they come? Thank you for sharing. Here's a natural way to say it. Kids aren't predictable. I never know what they'll do next. It's true. Children can surprise us every day. Has there been a recent moment when your kids did something unexpected? Thank you for your question. I think you might mean lemonings or lime. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I'm still not familiar with the word liminous. Could you share the sentence or situation? Thank you for your patience. Lemonies is still not a word I recognize. Thank you for spelling it out. The word you're thinking of is reminisce. To reminisce means to think or talk about past experiences, usually with fond memories. For example, I understand. It can be tricky. Here's how to pronounce it. Reminisce. Would you like to practice saying it together? Or would you like to hear some more example sentences using reminisce? That's exactly right. Here's a natural way to say it. It's usually nostalgic, so I can't stop reminiscing. Is there something you often reminisce about, like a special trip, your childhood, or time with your family? Of course, here are a few example sentences using reminisce. 1. My friends and I like to reminisce about our school days. 2. Every time I look at old photos, I reminisce about my childhood. 3. During family dinners, we often reminisce about funny things that happened in the past. 4. Sometimes I reminisce about my honeymoon trip to Europe. Would you like to try making your own sentence with reminisce? Certainly. Here are some more examples with reminisce. 1. Listening to that song makes me reminisce about summers at the beach. 2. Grandparents love to reminisce about how things were when they were young. 3. We reminisced late into the night, sharing stories from our travels. 4. I often reminisce about the days when my children were little. 5. Old classmates met at the reunion to reminisce about their school adventures. Would you like to practice saying one of these sentences, or try making your own? Thank you for your sentence. Here's a more natural way to say it. I don't reminisce about the days when I was a kid. Would you like to try making another sentence? Or is there a different word or phrase you want to practice? Of course, here's a new word for you, meticulous. Meticulous means showing great attention to detail, being very careful and precise. For example, she is meticulous about keeping her house clean. Would you like to try making your own sentence with meticulous? Absolutely. Here are some example sentences using meticulous. 1. He is meticulous about organizing his desk at work. 2. The artist was meticulous when painting the tiny details. 3. My husband is meticulous about reading instructions before building something.